The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Big buffet, big recruiting report by our good friends at Seawell's in Columbia, the best place and the hottest place to go for the daily luncheon buffet, which will feature tomorrow, Josh Cohen.
Southern fried chicken, hamburger steak and onions, and teriyaki glazed salmon. Sounds pretty good to me.
Absolutely does. And if you're looking for the best in the catering business, then you need to get in touch with Seawell's at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Plus, where did it go? Here we go. Seawell's is also the place for you USC fans. If you're starting to be interested in looking for a place to park for upcoming football games, you can do so at Seawell's. Get in touch with them there. And the upcoming soccer match that will take place in early August, the Premier League soccer match that Williams-Brice Stadium will be hosting, that is another place you can park at Seawell's. So just log on to SeawellsCateringSC.com for menu options or give them a call at 803-771-7385 for the deets, as kids say, the details on parking. All right, in recruiting, USC target wide receiver Lex Cyrus of Susquehanna, Pennsylvania, will announce his commitment decision tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. He's picking between the Gamecocks and Penn State. USC does not have, at least yet, a running back committed for the 2025 class. They have, though, offered nearly a dozen and went hardest after Jeffrey Overton, who eventually committed to Virginia Tech. Now running backs coach Marquell Blackwell is looking hard again at Jaden Jackson of Franklin, Texas, a player he first recruited when he was at Texas A&M. We talk often. It's an every week thing, Jackson said. He's telling me to be patient and stick with the game, have my mind ready by maybe September or August. Maybe it should be the other way around, August or September. Jackson made his first visit to USC June the 14th. He is returning for camp on July the 26th. He also has an official visit set for the weekend of October the 4th when the Ole Miss Rebels will be in Columbia. USC commitment defensive tackle Caleb Williams of Chesterfield, Virginia, has been committed since April. He made official visits to USC, Minnesota, and Virginia Tech, and has always held firm to his pledge, but not long after his close friend, quarterback Shamari Earls, announced a decommitment from the Gamecocks and a commitment to Georgia on Sunday. Williams was offered by the Bulldogs. He was interviewed by the Georgia On 3 site and said the Bulldogs are trying to get him in for a visit. However, Williams said in a story he remains firmly committed to the Gamecocks, and he later said in an Instagram post, quote, "Not flipping, staying true, word is bond," end quote. Offensive center Isaac Souls of Louisville said he's at a 2 on a 10 scale towards making the decision between USC, NC State, Kentucky, and Miami. Smitty, I don't know much about recruiting, but my guess is 2 out of 10. He's not really ready yet. Just going to go out on a limb there.
Glad we had it in there tonight.
Even though he makes his announcement next week, July the 18th. He talked to Shane Beamer earlier in the week and hears from him and State's Dave Doran, the most among head coaches. However, all schools are in regular contact and showing him love, I'm sure. USC on Wednesday offered 2026 running back Javian Osborne of Forney, Texas. Last season, he rushed 290 times for over 2,200 yards with 41 touchdowns. On Tuesday, USC offered 2026 defensive end Keenan Britt of Oxford, Alabama. He's already sent a commitment announcement for July the 29th. Other offers include Oregon, Tennessee, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Florida, Ole Miss, Arkansas, UCF, and Louisville. Last season, Britt had 107 tackles with 8 sacks and 20 for loss. USC on Tuesday as well offered 2026 linebacker Jarmichael Garrett of Gulf Shores, Alabama. He also has offers from Arkansas, Oregon, Southern Cal, Miami, Mississippi State, and also NC State. USC target 2026 defensive back Jontavius Wyman of Jonesboro, Georgia, has moved his commitment date back to July the 27th. He's believed, though, to be a lean to, say it with me now, everybody know where he's leaning? Smitty, if he's a USC target, where do you think he's probably leaning?
Is he leaning toward the Gamecocks?
He's actually a strong lean, evidently, to Georgia.
I see.
See, I think Kirby Smart's pretty smart. He's clever with this. He waits to see who South Carolina's recruiting, and then he makes a phone call, and he usually gets them 9 times out of 10. You can't argue with the recruiting machine that the Bulldogs have pieced together, for sure.
All right, so this is like the old move of the Yankees just wait for the Royals to have a good player, and then he becomes a free agent, and you just go get him.
That's exactly right. You know, whoever is not performing all that well, some of the lower-level teams, you just go buy them. And I don't know that that's the case here, but it just seems like anybody that South Carolina really wants, Georgia's able to get, partly because they're Georgia. All right, your Riverside wide receiver Michael Skinner was offered by Kentucky. He's been committed to Cincinnati. Meantime, wide receiver Braylon Stewart of Raleigh committed to Furman. Last season, 71 receptions for almost 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns. How about this? He also had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. Dangerous weapon that Furman will be getting into the fold. Wide receiver Evan James of Leesburg, Florida, is committed to Furman as well. Former USC baseball commitment wide receiver Micah Matthews will make his football commitment sometime tonight. His final 4 are North Carolina, Virginia, Virginia Tech, and Utah. Left-handed pitcher Dan Margolis of Chester, Connecticut, has committed to Clemson. Meantime, West Ashley catcher Noah Franklin has committed to USC. Virginia transfer right-handed pitcher Cullen McKay has committed to Coastal Carolina, whereas former Coastal Carolina left-handed pitcher Liam Doyle is transferring from Ole Miss to Tennessee. Greenwood native right-handed pitcher Garrett Hodges is transferring from Gardner-Webb to Charlotte. And this is somewhat of a surprise, considering who they are. The USC women's basketball team did not make the cut to a Final Six with 6'1" guard Jazzy Davidson of Portland. They were in her Final 8, making the cut, though, Duke, Texas, TCU, UCLA, Southern Cal, and Connecticut. And that is Recruiting Tonight, presented by our good friends at Seawells. Don't forget about the Daily Luncheon Buffet. And again, the items up on the docket tomorrow, Josh.
Oh, man, I'm not ready. I already closed the tab. I believe. Okay,
I don't remember.
Southern fried chicken. Fried chicken. Teriyaki glazed salmon. And give me a second. Give me a second here. Wow, you really put me on the spot here, Chris. Oh, hamburger, steak, and onions. So Southern fried chicken, hamburger, steak, and onions, and teriyaki glazed salmon. Sounds pretty good to me.
Done, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done,
really
sir.
Put me on the spot.
Check
Not
that
fair.
out at Seawells. And don't forget, Gamecock fans, if you're looking for parking, get in touch with Seawells as well. Right across the street from the Rocket over in Columbia, and SeawellsCateringSC.com.